Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. It is still unknown what form and strategy the Polish opposition will take for the autumn election. The Polish People's Party have made a preliminary announcement that they will form a coalition. Some of its members reacted by calling for a split. The Democratic Left Alliance is indicating that if the main opposition party, Civic Platform, does not make a proposal by Wednesday, they will form an election bloc themselves.
Why does Mr. Schetyna, the leader of the Civic Platform Party, want to be the Prime Minister of the next government if he isn't even able to form a list of election candidates for the opposition? That's the question politicians of the ruling Law and Justice Party are asking. The split in the opposition is good for the ruling party. There is some moaning and groaning within the opposition in reaction to the Polish People's Party preliminary announcement of forming an election bloc by themselves, and how this kind of move plays into the hands of Jarosław Kaczyński's ruling party. The leader of the Polish People's Party gave an ultimatum last Friday that if the Civic Platform fails to form a centrist opposition bloc, they will do it themselves. Some politicians are adamant about the necessity of the Civic Platform and Polish People's Party forming a coalition, stating that only this duo is able to challenge the ruling Law and Justice Party.
I think there is no point discussing the details since talks between the parties are in full swing and any outcome is possible. The talks are between the leaders and I do not think it should be happening in front of the cameras. Please be patient. We will have the final decision made by Wednesday. By the end of this week, everything should be clear.
Budujemy koalicję polską.
We are building the Polish coalition and we are inviting all groups who want to be within the Christian Democratic Alliance. This is an open project and everyone who believes in Christian democratic values or wants to support our program is welcome.
Każdy, kto chce poprzeć także nasz program, jest mile widziany.
Wszystko na to wskazuje, że PSL pójdzie odrębnie.
All signs point to the Polish People's Party running by themselves with some other supporting groups and single politicians who hold similar views to theirs at the moment. I think that Civic Platform is going to go with a modern party and Mrs. Barbara Nowacka will go separately. The possible participation of the Democratic Left Alliance is still unknown. If the Democratic Left Alliance doesn't join, then we can expect a third bloc of purely leftists to be formed for the coming elections.
Sądzę, że należy się liczyć, że powstanie trzeci blok, taki stricte lewicowy.
A zniecierpliwieni są też politycy SLD, jak mówią, dość już.
Members of the Democratic Left Alliance are also getting impatient. Some say that they are sick and tired of sitting in Grzegorz Schetyna's waiting room. Today, the leader of the Democratic Left Alliance, Włodzimierz Czarzasty, gave Schetyna an ultimatum. If the new coalition proposal is not formed by the Civic Platform by Wednesday, they will start forming their own leftist election bloc this coming Thursday. In addition to that, he also warned that on Thursday, he will point the finger at those who are guilty of the current uncertain state of the opposition. As far as the Civic Platform is concerned, their politicians say that the final pre-election decision will be announced this Wednesday.
Te ostateczne przedwyborcze decyzje.
The recently elected president of Slovakia, Zuzana Čaputová, has come to Poland on an official visit. Čaputová met with Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki and was also welcomed by Polish President Andrzej Duda, with whom she held a joint press conference.
Poland is a very important economic partner of Slovakia. We spoke about the perspectives for the tightening of those ties and mutual investments. Our relationship also covers common history and values. Poland was a great inspiration for all the countries in our region and a part of the great change that happened.
Gospodarki bardzo ważne są wspólne historii.
Rozmawialiśmy o współpracy właśnie w ramach.
We spoke about our cooperation within the Visegrad Group. We also spoke about our cooperation within the Three Seas Initiative and the development of infrastructure, both the road and railroad infrastructure. In terms of the energy infrastructure, I told President Čaputová that I'm delighted to see the construction of the gas interconnector between Poland and Slovakia be underway. I hope that it will be finished by 2021. I have to say I did encourage President Čaputová to join the cooperation under the Three Seas Initiative because I believe it is a good project for the region of Central Europe.
Pierwszego roku ona się szczęśliwie zakończy.
The streets of Paris, Lyon and Marseilles became loud and violent last night as the Algerian population celebrated their country's victory over Nigeria in the semi-final of the African Cup of Nations. But the celebrations quickly turned to riots, with many stores being looted and demolished. Our French correspondent, Zbigniew Stefanik, has more on what is becoming standard practice in modern-day France.
Well, The riots took place after Algeria's victory over Nigeria. Some of the Algerian hooligans committed acts of vandalism around 2 a.m. Such incidents also occurred in Lyon, where there were many material losses, and in Marseilles, where some Algerians fought with the police. It's worth noting that similar riots took place several days ago on July 11th, when Algeria won against the Ivory Coast. Following these incidents, 74 people were detained and a woman was killed by an Algerian driver, while her children were badly injured. Following tonight's riots, 272 people were arrested in France in total, 245 of them for 48 hours, while 169 people were detained in Paris alone. The French authorities expect another wave of violence on Friday, when Algeria will face Senegal in the final.
More information has been released on Saturday's terror attack against Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility known as ICE in Tacoma, Washington. The attacker, 69-year-old anarchist Willem van Spronsen, was motivated by hatred against Donald Trump's increasingly tough immigration policy. He attacked the ICE facility in an attempt to further the open borders immigration policy favoured by the militant left-wing organisation Antifa, with which Spronsen had been aligned for years.
The terrorist was armed with a loaded rifle and attempted to ignite a commercial-sized propane tank attached to the ICE detention facility before being gunned down by ICE officers following a shootout. Spronsen had also used incendiary devices to set cars on fire, as well as attempting to set parts of the holding facility ablaze. The man had been arrested in 2018 following a protest at the same facility after having assaulted a police officer. The attack against ICE comes after weeks of verbal attacks against the agency by Democratic politicians, with some going as far as comparing ICE facilities with German concentration camps from the Second World War.
In more foreign news, a Brazilian pastor, Marcelo Rossi, was attacked whilst conducting a holy mass in front of 50,000 attendees in Sao Paulo.
Pastor Marcelo Rossi was attacked by an unidentified woman who, according to family, is mentally unstable. Thankfully, no serious injuries were suffered by the pastor, and he returned to conducting the mass a few minutes later.
Thank you very much for joining us here this evening at Poland Daily. I'm John Carter. Stay tuned after the break for Poland Daily weather. It's followed by the business, culture, history, and then finally the travel.